particularly interested to get the insights of Nick from Tourism Australia. Tourism is a global audience to a localised area, and so you must be using the digital medium to communicate to your tourists.
I think digital is becoming more and more important, Nick. As we move into a more of a conversational form of how we're getting out to people, I think it's vital that digital is that ability to tell the stories. And that's what Tourism Australia is really seeing itself as, the storytellers, and digital is a way to do that and connect with people on many different levels.
And word of mouth is just absolutely critical in the holiday sector, isn't it?
Word of mouth is, and that whole role of advocacy we're drumming up, and in fact, just recently we brought down a number of bloggers around a particular event, which was Fashion Week here, to start telling their stories and to give their advocacy participation in what we're doing. And I guess around that, with the word of mouth, we're just trying to connect people that have travelled with people that haven't, and get their stories loaded onto our sites and onto different channels to tell more, give people more of a colour, I guess, and more of a fabric of things that they might be interested in specifically.
And you know, Australia is actually obviously a very large country with a lot of unique, localised specialities and a lot of different types of tourist activity, from you know, sport to whatever
wine
it might
and
be.
food and everything. And that's one of the things. The thing that digital does is it gives us an opportunity to tell a lot more stories about a lot more different things to a lot of different people. In fact, we can connect with their passion points. So if somebody's really interested in food and wine, we can tell stories about that. Whereas before, we were limited to sort of just editorial that could be gained in specialist publications. Now we can construct mini films, we can use bloggers, we can use advocacy, we can use a whole lot of different tools, with digital being the primary channel, to get those out with everybody. And the great thing about Australia, obviously, is that it has so many different offerings to so many different people.
You've had some very high-profile campaigns. Obviously, Australia the movie, and the work that Tourism Queensland are doing has had some worldwide coverage and awards with the Cannes last week. Yeah,
there has been. It's been a massive year, I think, from Tourism Australia and from all the other industries, both with Tourism Queensland and what we did. We were very pleased with around Australia the movie. It was an extraordinary ability to get behind this sort of global phenomenon, which was going out to 70 different countries around the world with Australia the movie. And we kind of thought that obviously something that's called Australia, that's starring Australians, that's set in Australian and made by Australians, it'd be a good idea for Tourism Australia to get behind it. And we did that, and we got our messages out and effectively got, I think it was somewhere in the region of about 3,500 articles written about Australia on the back of what we did around the movie. So it was a massive ability for us to tell those stories. And the same way Tourism Queensland used a very effective stunt to sort of get people talking about it. And I think both gave more commentary about Australia than single ad campaigns can ever do.
You, as an individual within Tourism Australia, attending a summit like the iMedia Brand Summit is a good opportunity to speak to your contemporaries about the issues and challenges that you face. What are you looking forward to getting out of the summit from a personal perspective?
I think often we live in very busy lives, and we're interacting with people that we work with and all of our agencies and our global teams, and too often we don't actually spend time to talk with our peers. And one of the things I'm most looking forward to is hearing from our peer groups out there, well, what are they doing? What are they finding? You know, marketing is such a massively changing dynamic. It really is one that you have to constantly learn from. I mean, I think the sort of rate of growth now and rate of new knowledge and rate of new technology has radically reformed the whole way in which marketers operate. And this is a great chance for us to sort of talk about some of those things and also see what is more relevant to our industries. The funny thing, I think, is that it used to be that industries were very separate and they were very defined. But now marketing and the channels we use, it's such a proliferation that we can take from people that are in mining or from in telecommunications into completely unrelated subjects, and I'm looking forward to having those chats.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways you think all this new media is fragmenting how you can market, but it's all the same really, of just communicating and listening to what your consumers want.
It is, and the consumers have got even more different ways of telling us what they want now. And if you don't have a way of communicating them beyond a 30-second TVC or a print campaign, then you're really going to lose out in today's world.
Yeah, well, now there's so many more channels for you to be able to hear what they're talking about, which is
well,
great.
That's it. Their feedback to us as well. And it's kind of almost the reverse now in a way of building a brand, where it's almost the brand is being built by outside back into us, and if we're not listening to those conversations and if we're not tuned in to what they're saying, we could miss some of the most important points on our own competitive identity and bringing that strength forward.
And just lastly, you've been involved in the advisory committee this year. How have you found that process, and what are you looking forward to at the summit?
I think there's a little bit of the same. It was nice at the very beginning hearing from other people that have got similar problems, and when we sort of brainstormed on sort of, well, what are the things you think people are going to be interested in, what are the things you're interested in, there was a remarkable amount of similarity in some of those areas, and who the kind of people wanted to come along and speak to. So I found that it's sort of, again, brought that network of people together, which has been most empowering.
Well, Nick, thanks for your time on the committee, and look forward to seeing you at the summit.
Thanks very much, Nick.
Cheers.
Cheers.